I've prepared an app with two parts. The first part is meant to just ping a backend and display the response. And the second is meant to take some submissions and submit it to a backend and then refresh with all the prior submissions. So it shows some CRUD. You can use whatever framework you want. I use Svelte. Here's like where it mounts, and then here's the main of the app. But it doesn't really matter what framework. We're going to start off by initializing the Amplify project. So Amplify init. And now I'm going to add the REST API endpoint. So I'm going to say Amplify add API. And finally, I can provision that endpoint in the cloud by saying Amplify push. Once it's provisioned, it's actually quite easy to test this endpoint. It tells you the overall endpoint here, and all you have to do is add the path that you set up. So here I set up the path hello world, and I've pinged that hello world, and it's going to give me back the response that I wanted. It's quite easy to do the same from within our app. We're just going to import API from AWS Amplify. And then inside of our fetch function, we can say api.get. We can get our API name from where we filled it in, setting it up, and we can also get the path. And now when I click the according button, it responds with the same result. Now this REST API that we set up is relatively stateless, so let's try to do something more stateful. Let's Amplify add API again. And this time we're going to choose the CRUD template that also helps us set up a DynamoDB database. We're going to edit this function and make it a lot simpler, so I'm going to replace it with some pre-prepared code. Once we're done setting that up, we can push this back to the cloud again. We can now add this new endpoint to the submission function, which over here I call create contact. And we can also fetch all submissions in the appropriate method. Now I can see when I submit the form, it posts it, and then it also does the fetch. And of course, you can always open up the AWS console, head to your DynamoDB table, and look for the items that you've just submitted. Okay, so that's a very brief tour of setting up a REST endpoint with DynamoDB integration. And if you need more guides on this, I recommend heading to the Amplify docs where we have a full guide giving you the step-by-step as well as the sample code.